warrior. I found out something today that 1% of my audience out there fits the archetype of a warrior. And you might say, well, Lance, are you doing a show for 1%? Well, I don't know. I think I attract a disproportionate number of warriors. If you've been with me all the years, working with my Trump journey here, you might remember I've got my, is this the one? I was talking about the Trump train when it wasn't even popular. Now we're on track with all kinds of warfare. But if you are a vet, you're married to a vet, you know someone who's been in the armed services. If you've been a mixed martial artist or been involved with jiu-jitsu and stuff like that, you're going to love all the stuff I'm talking about, because my guest today, Kevin Lucas, is an authority on a couple of subjects of high interest to this audience. Kevin, welcome today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here, Lance.
Now, I am kind of intrigued with your profession.
Yes,
because
sir.
you deal with now, are you yourself a mixed martial arts? Or
I do train. Yep, I've trained martial arts my whole life, and it's not for everybody at all times, but everybody can do it, and I think everybody should try it to see if it's a good fit for them.
All right, so you said to me that 1% of people fit the archetype. Help my audience understand. I think I've got warrior intercessors. I think old ladies can be warriors. I think it's a mental state more than it is your ability to handle combat. But I might be wrong. So what's a warrior in your definition?
Yeah, so a warrior archetype is a person who feels commissioned and called by God to run and help people when struggling or challenging things are happening. So that could be our veterans, that could be people in active duty, that could be our first responders, EMS, police officers. It could be man or woman. It doesn't really matter. We're not talking gender in any capacity. We're talking about, do you have a heart to help people when things get tough and things are on the rocks, so to say?
So I would say, by that definition, we have a lot of people that would identify with it, because you move to the sound of where the battle is.
That's exactly
You might not
right.
be into physical confrontation. I mean, most Christians would have a moral issue with physical confrontation anyway. But you would definitely go to the sound of the conflict rather than hunker down or hide.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we actually know when we look at the neurobiology, so when you're looking at brain scans of individuals that are called to run to danger, their brains activate and completely light up and work in a different way than when someone isn't called to run to physical danger in those same capacities.
All right, so then let's talk about the physical trauma that someone goes through, because I'm watching a lot of mixed martial arts. I'm thinking, oh my God, it's not like you're shadow boxing. You're hitting somebody who's hitting you back.
Right.
You're wrestling with someone who's wrestling with you. So it doesn't seem to me that, even though it's a very healthy profession, that you stay healthy doing it.
Physically, it definitely puts some miles on the body, but what we're seeing from a mental health perspective is that these environments, whether it's a jiu-jitsu academy, whether you're training, karate or kickboxing, it really puts a place of peace and ease, and that working a chess problem, right? A lot of people do really good when they're problem solving, and it really brings a sense of balance and peace to them when they're doing that. And so, yes, it's high mileage on the body, and the body breaks down, but it really facilitates a sense of connection and deep meaning for people mentally as they're doing that.
So it scratches a psychological itch and it tears your body apart. So, okay, so that's the lifestyle of a lot of people that are listening to me right now. So what I want you to do is tell me about your own journey, mind-body journey, in terms of, like, as a warrior, doing what you do. What's been your experience physically? What's the trauma you've had to deal with?
Yeah, so when I was young, between the age of 5 and 6, I was very severely abused and tortured as a child. I had to have emergency surgery to save my life as a result of that. So for me, from a warrior perspective, I think that situation as a child put me into a position where I wanted to help and protect other individuals. And so whether it's running to help them because they're struggling emotionally, but more importantly, when they're struggling physically, that's what primed that mechanism for me. And then my own personal healing journey was I struggled my entire life with very severe and debilitating migraines. I would have migraines, 3 to 5 times a week. They would be so severe. I would be, vomiting, vision issues. One eye would actually droop close. And I cleaned up my diet in my early 20s, and that helped. It brought it down to maybe, 1 to 3 migraines a week. But the thing that really, truly changed my life, and then this is why I'm so excited to be sharing this with your level 10 audience, is that regenerative therapy is what truly shifted that trajectory for me. So now I might have 1 migraine in an entire year, where before I was literally having 1 to 3 in a week.
Wow. And I'm not familiar with migraines that are that. I mean, my audience is, but I mean, I get a headache. I call it a migraine. I'm amplifying it, obviously. I didn't have my eye drooping, and I'm not vomiting as a result. So
Yeah.
Wow. 3 times a week, you said?
Yeah. 2 to 3 times a week.
All right. So walk me through what happened. How did you deal with this? So what did you do?
I did everything possible aside from surgical interventions. A lot of times a neurosurgeon might recommend ablations to the nerves at the base of your skull or in your neck. I never went that route, but everything from all the over-the-counter medications to exercise and prayer and meditation, trying to find relief from that. And oftentimes the only thing that would work was I'd have to go into a dark room, shut all the blinds, shut all the lights off,
Wow.
and fall asleep. The only thing that really shifted or kicked me out of that migraine state would be actually falling asleep, which, as running a private practice, that wasn't always easy to do with, a couple of young kids. And so it was definitely challenging.
All right. So now you and I met because we've both been studying the level, this level 10 living concept, and then dealing with the level 10 matrix. What happened? What was your encounter with this technology that changed your life?
Yeah. So, the first piece from the migraine perspective, in addition to many other physical improvements that I've had as well, is, we know one of the primary mechanisms that the regenerative cells do is that they help repair tissue. So when you have broken down tissue, and that can come from trauma, that can come from being overstimulated or in super stressful environments,
right,
that changes the blood flow in the brain. It changes the inflammation in the brain. So a lot of our clients, particularly a lot of our veterans who are struggling with chronic headaches and constant, severe headaches or migraines or cluster headaches, we're seeing a tremendous amount of improvements and changes at the regenerative level, where it's literally restoring brain tissue.
So I'm wondering if my audience out there, can you relate to this? How many of you have had these reoccurring kind of migraines and things like that? And what you're listening to is you're listening to one of the experts that I've uncovered, who's a little different than the other people I have on the show, because he deals with a community that is the jiu-jitsu, martial arts, vets, Navy SEALs, people that are in high stress, high trauma, physical engagement. And that's why I wanted to bring him on the show, because this is a new world to me. I wasn't ever attracted to the martial arts arena. I like watching it.
Yeah.
I not necessarily want to get in the cage,
Right.
but I don't mind watching the cage. And I want you guys to get all this information about this regenerative therapy, because your body has the ability to repair itself. But I got grandchildren now. They're going to grow. I love watching the changes, but then they peak. I don't know what age it starts to decline. I think you probably could show me a chart, but you start to hit a peak and then your decline starts. Well, it's because something that was manufacturing all this growth inside it stopped. And then it went, and you start going crunched over. Look, my hair's getting gray. I'm going to the skin doctor now. I'm discovering, what's this? Here's what I want you to do. I want you to go to level10matrix.com. I want you to find out about this powerful concept for how to live life at the next level, how to live life healthier, longer, be stronger. And I want you to comment Matrix if you're on Facebook or Instagram, and call 800-361-2270, because everything we're talking about is in one way or another is available in a booklet that you're going to be able to get a hold of. And I want to make sure you can get a hold of it, Stem Cells Made Simple, because it's a profound mystery how this works, but it's scientifically real, and yet at the same time, it's so close to I'd say the core is like quantum theory. It's so close to the core of the creative process of what God does that you almost get into a theological realm when you talk about it every time I go there. Level10matrix.com. Go there now. You'll see why I'm saying that. So talk to me about, educate me and my audience on this bank account concept. Because when you said it to me, it clicked. I said, I got to remember that because I can use that to explain. Explain to me this aging phenomena as a metaphor of a bank account.
Absolutely. So it's really easy to understand if you think money, because we all know what it's like to have more or less money at different times in our lives. So if I have a project around my house and I need, let's say, $500,000 to complete a remodel, or I need to, the roof is bad, the HVAC on my house goes out. As I get older, I just have less money in my bank account. As we get older, we have less regenerative cells in our body. And so it's so fascinating to know that at 18, when we go from 18 to the age of 30, at 18, I have 1 in every 100,000 cells as a stem cell. By the time I'm 30, it's now down to 1 in 250,000 cells as a stem cell. And then that magic age of 50 comes into play. We're now at 1 in 400,000 cells is a stem cell or a regenerative cell. So this is where, you go from readers to full-on glasses, you lift something the wrong way, you look the wrong way, you travel without the pillow that you need, and your neck goes out that day. That's not because there's anything wrong with you.
And so many of my friends have hearing aids.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm finding that out. Numbers of them, and thank God they're being designed so small that you don't even notice it. But put that graphic back up. For those of you on a podcast, what we're looking at is a picture of a newborn babe with 1 out of 10,000 newborn. I got grandchildren now.
Yep.
This is this is part of their growth.
Yeah, this is the bank account process.
And so the bank account is getting bigger, and then it starts to hit that 30. There's your prime age. People talk to me about resurrection bodies because, well, actually I talk about it because I want to know what age are you with a resurrection body? And this is a strange conversation segue, but in every person's testimony that went to heaven, they said, everybody, they looked younger. I mean, obviously they were there. I recognized them, but it took me a moment because they're in their 30s.
Right.
So, I mean, there's something about, it's funny that right around your 30s is when you hit that bank account starts bouncing checks.
Right.
And then from then on, your 40s, your 50s, your 60s. But your basic age, resurrection body, reflects like a 33-year-old or something like that.
Right. Well, just think about it. When you're 18, you can do 2-a-day trainings. You can go to school all day. You can go to work at night and still get up and function the next morning, eating Hot Pockets, Pop-Tarts, and Cheetos. And all of a sudden, you hit 30.
Yeah, drinking soda or beer or
And then at 30, that changes. And then at 50, that changes even more. So that really has everything to do with your regenerative cell bank account.
All right. Does this cover your Mega Millions analogy?
Really close. So the most common question that we get is what can this help me with? I have this health challenge, that health challenge, this diagnosis. Well, Lance, if the roof on the studio goes bad, if the HVAC at your personal house goes wrong, or one of your family members' cars gets into a wreck, what do you need to fix all of those things? Money. I'm going to need a lot of it to do 3 things at one time. That's exactly right. But if you just won Mega Millions, would you be stressed at all about any of those things happening?
So if the Powerball money came in and I got $20 million in the bank account, I'm going to take care of all of them at one time.
There you go. So when you're having physical health challenges and your body isn't cooperating as well as what it should, when we can flood your body with all of these brand new, super powerful regenerative cells, it's like winning the Mega Millions, and it doesn't matter what's wrong with you, and your body can get back on track.
So what's interesting, I want everybody to pay attention to this. Your stem cell manufacturing actually in you starts to peak, it deteriorates over time. And so if you suddenly have an infusion of these cells, and these cells that are going in, living cells, they're multiplying actually, aren't they?
Every day.
You're not just putting in $1 million and they're trying to figure out where to go. It's $1 million becoming $2 million, becoming $3 million, so that's multiplying.
That's right. Imagine winning Mega Millions, and every day that winning amount doubles.
Yeah, okay. So now there's 3 kinds. I was curious about this. There's only 3 kinds of what? Of sources of the breakdown of the human body. Well, because you were talking to me about this, it's like the tissue thing. Give us the three, because it made sense when you said it to me.
So when you go to your medical professional, they can give you 100,000 different diagnostic codes that go into supposedly what's wrong with you. When they speak that language of disease and death over you at the medical office, there's supposedly over 100 different thousand things. But really, when you look at the body's breakdown, there's three things that could be wrong with you. Your cells are injured or they're deteriorating. Number two is that you're having an inflammatory issue, meaning too much fluid or not enough fluid in an area. And the third thing that can be wrong with you is your immune system isn't working like it should. It's either overactive or underactive. Every one of the 100,000 different diagnostic codes that exist are a combination of one or those three things. So medicine complicates it, but God is so brilliant in his design, he made it so simple, right? We're not going to say the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit is exactly the same thing, but threes are three for a reason. And if we look at the simplicity of what God did to restore us and rebuild us, all we're using is God's medicine to work on improving that process.
We're literally working with the very, like the stem cells that created you, in a sense, from the inside, can regenerate and recreate and heal.
That's right.
I haven't seen this video yet, but it's somebody who I think you know. I want to watch this with everybody else. Play that video about Dennis.
I'm Dennis Price. I'm the founder and CEO of Heroes for Many, the nonprofit. I just want to give a special shout out to Kevin Lucas. I just received stem cell therapy about 3-ish months ago. And today I started the morning off at like 5:30, hitting the jiu-jitsu mats, and then came out here to shoot, practice lethality and being safe and being protector with our handgun from the concealed with my friend Josh. I just want to say that after 3 months of therapy, my back, all the injuries I would continuously have and re-throw it out every few months has almost been completely mitigated, where I'm able to do this stuff as I was before. So I want to say thank God for all this healing. Educate yourself on regenerating your body, proper healing, diet, exercise, and what's actually out there for stem cell therapy and what is nonsense. And train your body, train your mind. Eat healthy food, do the right thing, listen to God.
Level 10 Matrix, folks. Go to level10matrix.com. Call 1-800-361-2270. You know this man?
He's one of my close friends and is a true warrior. Actually, he just is in Thailand this week working and bringing God's message and restoration to the people who just suffered that horrible earthquake that just happened. Mm-hmm. But he was physically so broken from his time in the special forces that it was hard for him to function. And now, because of regenerative therapy, he's operating again at a super high level.
And you're dealing, once again, I want the audience to catch this. You're dealing with the vets. You're dealing with the mixed martial arts, the martial arts, the jiu-jitsu particularly, because that's such a military focus. How often do you see, with these stem cells, how often do you see restoration happening, and what kind of restoration are you looking at?
The level of change that happens for our clients is so profound that most people think that this is too good to be true, because when they see the testimonies, when they see their friends functioning in a way that they haven't in a long time, most people just write it off as that it's too good to be true because it happens so often.
Well, it's happening consistently. And we're noticing a lot of optical improvements, which was unintended. Like,
yeah.
We got people that are they're actually getting the Matrix for one thing, but coming back and saying, well, I'm still waiting on that, but I went to my eyes are improving. That's unusual, right?
Yeah, well, it's not unusual in regards to the regenerative therapy world, but in traditional medicine or allopathic care, yeah, you don't see one thing helping another, but God's medicine is so powerful, it knows what you need in the moment that you need it. So a client might come into us and say, hey, Kevin, I really want my knee to get better, and lo and behold, their liver numbers are better, their ophthalmologist is having to write them a new prescription for their glasses or contacts.
So what we're saying is that you may have one plan, but there's an intelligence that is in your body, and it's like my wife gave me a book when we were dating. She was so into this. It's Your Body Doesn't Lie, and it has to do with your body's telling you stuff. Well, when the level 10 matrix goes to work, there's an intelligence in the design, and it goes where it's needed. It goes where, and you might think it's this, and it's actually saying, actually, based on the inventory, I think it's this.
Right, exactly.
So go ahead.
Think about how many times we pray for something from God because I think that's the thing that I want in the moment.
Always.
And he doesn't necessarily answer that prayer that way, but he follows up with it with something that's literally 1,000 times better.
1,000 times better. One time I remember in my church, they said, I want you to turn to the east and let's stretch out our hands and we're bless the east. I want you to envision your blessings, see where it's going. Go to the west, to the north, to the south. And then they asked, what were you seeing? And most people are seeing outside the building. And he said, well, actually, east could be all the way to Europe and into Russia and into China. And west could go. And we realized that in our own minds, we put a limit on what the north, south, east, and west blessing look like, and we limited ourselves.
Right.
It's like, do it again. This time I want you to see your blessing going all the way to Los Angeles. And we all stretched our hands over the United States from Rhode Island.
Right.
It was like, yeah, okay. So there's so much more that you're capable of. And I think we program ourselves to think we're supposed to age a certain way. I really believe this. There's a mind part to this. I meet people that are eternally young. If their body is reflective of that, everybody knows them. It's like they don't age the same as others. Like Benjamin Buttonwood, you look at them, they're really not aging, and you're wondering what it is. Well, all I'm going to tell you is this science actually works, and it has an impact. Do you have any final thing you want to tell us about? Just to give people the assurance that this is a smart decision?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, first and foremost, this isn't anything that man or humans invented. This is God. We're just taking the cells that God used to help build us and create us, and we're just adding more of them to your body so you have the ability to increase your body's natural healing mechanisms. And we live in the best time in all of human history. Just like we didn't used to have electricity and running water, and now we carry supercomputers around in our pockets, we live in a day and an age where we can increase our body's ability to restore naturally without dangerous interventions.
I love that. Kevin, thank you so much for being with us today. I'm going to have you back again because I got a couple more questions that are on my mind now that we've been talking. Go to level10matrix.com. Call 1-800-361-2270. You can talk to somebody. We'll be able to help you. Or if you're watching this on Instagram or Facebook, just put the word Matrix, M-A-T-R-I-X, and I'll make sure you get the link. And there's like a 40-page booklet on stem cells made simple so you can understand a bit of what we're talking about. Thank you.
Thank you, Lance.
And you will be happy you took action because this is what I do it, Annabelle does it, our whole staff does it. So we're looking forward to hearing your testimony as well. God bless you.
Did you enjoy this latest episode? Please remember to share it with your friends, because the more knowledge you have,